Welcome to the second DFMies. For those who are not aware of these awards, we began these last month as a way to look at some of the terrific journalism and work being produced around digital first media. Part of the reason for doing these awards is we are, without question, in a time of transition, and in that transition a lot of the focus is on trying to figure out how to use the new tools of journalism, how to adapt to a rapidly changing economic climate, how to deal with the fact that we're trying to build Thunderdome and centralize some things that have not been centralized historically in these companies. And in the midst of all of that craziness, with a new content management system and a web design and a print design all coming, we can't lose focus on what we're all here to do at the end of the day is produce journalism. And in the midst of this transformation we're going through, we wanted to make sure that that was never lost on us, that is what we're all here to do, hence the beginning of the DFMies last month. So we'll get to the winners shortly. One programming note. We are going to, as we do everything in a digital world, kind of change things on the fly as we go, live and learn. One of the changes we made early on to the structure of these awards, we have made already, is that we are going to allow entries of more than 2 people. The reason we wanted to have these $250 awards, which is the award for each of these, was we wanted people to not only have their work recognized, but get something for it, and to get something that's can be helpful in what are tough economic times. The reason we didn't do more than 2 at any one time was because we just thought the number, splitting to 5 with 5 or 6 people, ends up being a nominal amount of money, and it did seem like a fair recognition. But there are a lot of projects that involve all corners of a newsroom, and it didn't seem fair for us not to include those. So starting next month, we will accept entries with more than 2 people, with the caveat being if an entry with more than 2 people attached to it wins, we're not going to break the money up into 6 or 7 pieces. We're going to give the money to the editor in that newsroom, and they will have a party or some kind of recognition of the award that the whole newsroom can enjoy together. So that's the only big change for the month, and without further ado, let's go on to this month's winners. The winner in the New York, New England category for this month is Jolene Cleaver of the Oneida Daily Dispatch, who used crowdsourcing, digital tools, and dogged investigative reporting to uncover a situation that might send a local politician to jail. Jolene received a tip from a source at the state election board that had thrown out a set of Independence Party petitions because of forged signatures. We filed a FOIL request and obtained these petitions and several others. Jolene then looked a few bogus-looking names on the list, including a local pastor, and they all said they hadn't signed the petition, so she did the next really smartest thing she could do, is take that entire document, put it up on using Scribd, and ask people in the area to go look at that document and determine whether they might have had their own signatures forged as well. So it was also a very smart way of bringing the whole audience into a story that started small but got bigger as it went. So for the efforts there and for always thinking about the next step that could make that story better, Jolene is this month's winner in New York, New England.
Our story centered on forged signatures that were found on the Independence Party petitions to get a candidate listed on the Independence Party in the previous elections that happened last month. We were able to use our website as a reporting tool, which was really exciting. We put the petitions online and people were able to see for themselves that their names appeared, and so they were able to come forward and say, I did not sign this, and they in turn made police reports. So that's really exciting. A prosecutor is currently deciding whether to press charges against the Independence Party. And we're just waiting for the outcome of that. So again, thank you, and bye.
In the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia cluster, the winners this month are Beth Ann Heason, Samantha Kosick, and Markel Deloach from the Chambersburg Public Opinion for their unique use of Facebook during Hurricane Sandy. The nice thing about this particular work was that in looking at how they were going to cover this storm, they decided that they were just going to primarily use Facebook as a communication device, not knowing the status of power and not knowing how available their site might be. They wanted to just publish on a very easy platform that reached a significant number of people in the Chambersburg community, and they ended up publishing 142 posts in a 3-day period around Hurricane Sandy. So for being really smart about which platforms to use in the circumstances, the winner this month is the Chambersburg Public Opinion.
With a natural disaster, one of the things that we needed to do was get information out as quickly as possible to our readers on the platforms that they needed it on. A lot of them not having power were using their cell phones to check Facebook and Twitter, so we relied on social media platforms such as that to get information out as quickly as possible and post real-time updates as things were happening.
What was so great about using Facebook and Twitter for Hurricane Sandy is that it wasn't just a place that we could post our information that we were getting. We also gleaned a lot of information and tips from it. Some of the local emergency services had some really great tweets going out, And also our followers on Twitter and Facebook helped a lot by posting what they were seeing and experiencing.
I approached the superstorm coverage as a digital photographer. A picture of damage to St. Thomas, PA was posted to Facebook as soon as I was able to get a network signal on my smartphone. The most compelling part of the coverage was probably the video I shot with my DSLR.
All right, in the Midwest region, the winner is Don Gardner of the Macomb Daily for using a unique point of view camera to help cover a Civil War reenactment. When Don was assigned to do this story, he wanted to get a different perspective than the traditional reporter has generally gotten on these stories, so he decided to basically strap a camera to his forehead, and you can see a picture of him doing so on the article, giving readers a really unique perspective about what it's like to be in the middle of one of those reenactments. And what I liked about it was he approached it the way that we really like digital first journalists to approach stories, which is think about what the right platform and the right tools to use to tell that particular story are. And he knew that the camera would be a unique perspective here. The story was also excellent, but I think the combination of a good story and using smart digital tools made this the winner for this month.
I think the thing that made this project unique was the use of the POV camera, the point of view camera that I mounted on my forehead during the Civil War battle reenactment. I had wanted to purchase a POV camera for our newsroom for a long time, but I thought this would perhaps be one of the best vehicles to use it for, so I approached our editor about the idea of getting the camera and using it for this project. He liked the idea, so we went with it. And I think that it provides the viewers a unique perspective into the battle, the reenactors, how seriously they take doing these reenactments. And I think it was a different perspective that you perhaps wouldn't get from video shot from the sideline outside the reenactment. So I'm happy with the result, and hopefully we can use this piece of equipment for future stories.
The winner in the Colorado-Utah cluster is Vern Anderson of the Salt Lake Tribune for his penning of the Salt Lake Tribune's endorsement of Barack Obama to be president in 2012. This was a surprise to a lot of people, as with Mitt Romney's background in Utah, many expected the Salt Lake Tribune would endorse him, and Vern's editorial and its reasoning was excellent and is highly regarded around the country, is really one of the really few editorials that surprised and attracted interest around the country. The editorial got more than 1.2 million page views and generated days of discussion, not just around Salt Lake City, but around the country as a whole. And as a result of that excellent work and Vern's continued excellent work, he is the winner this month for the Colorado-Utah cluster.
At the beginning of the presidential campaign, we, the editorial board, assumed that we would probably be endorsing Mitt Romney for president. He, after all, had done a fine job with the Salt Lake Winter Olympics in 2002 and was a member of the Mormon Church and a Republican, which takes up about 3/4 of the voting public in Utah. That remained the case, although Romney said some things that disturbed us a bit. It remained the case until he made his 47% remarks behind closed doors, and we, in good conscience, felt that we could not endorse him. So we endorsed Barack Obama and expected some reaction from people, Tribune readers, people within the state, and we got a little bit of that. But instead, we got a huge response from people outside the state, not just within the United States, but around the world. And we're interviewed by a number of publications, including twice by Al Jazeera. We're surprised, as I say, and we're very glad that the company saw fit to recognize our efforts. Thank you.
In the Tex-Mex cluster, the winner is Dwayne Barbati from the Alamogordo Daily News. Dwayne had found out that there was a study that had been commissioned about public safety by the city of Alamogordo, and he wanted to get his hands on that study. He was not given that study, and there was a big fight about whether that study would be released. And after a lot of pushing from Michael Johnson and Alamogordo and Dwayne, the report was finally released and led to a series of really good stories. So for the persistence of pushing to get information that the public has the right to know, and getting it and reporting on it, Dwayne is the winner for the Tex-Mex cluster.
Every American has the right to view public records about government affairs. Alamogordo citizens paid the tab on a $50,000 comprehensive study of their Department of Public Safety. The city commissioners decided to use every means possible to block us from getting a copy of the study. Mayor Susie Galea even said she wished she could tell it on the mountain. We helped her do that by putting it on our website after receiving a copy of it. I think Benjamin Franklin said it best. Any society that would give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both.
This month's winner in Lang is Kelsey Duckett from the Press-Telegram for breaking news coverage of a mass shooting where a gunman shot 5 and killed 3 people. Kelsey did amazing breaking news reporting here, which was jumping on all platforms and communicating information to the audience as quickly as she possibly could using a variety of different methods. And her reporting was so dominant on this that not only was LA the first to get the shooter's name, and of course all the other LA papers because they work so closely together, but there were local television stations who were covering the story who reported on one of Kelsey's theories on this. They were calling it the Duckett theory. So when you get branded as part of a story, that sort of signals that you are dominating the coverage. And for her domination of that particular story, Kelsey is the winner in Lang this month.
I came to work only about 5 months on the job, and my editor Paul asked me to go out on the scene. I had no idea what to expect, as it was the first big scene that I've ever really covered. And I basically spent the next 12 hours there knocking on doors, talking to police officers, and covering primarily through Twitter. I live tweeted the press conferences, which enabled my editors and other reporters to pull direct quotes and update stories immediately. The coverage went on for 3 days, and we regularly beat the LA Times on coverage through making late night phone calls and everybody kind of working together and working 15 to 16-hour days. It's nice to be recognized for stuff like this. This was hard work that everybody at the Press-Telegram did. It wasn't just me, it was my editors and fellow reporters, photographers, everyone. It was a group effort and layout people. So I am thankful for getting the award, and I appreciate it.
This month's winner in the Bay Area news group is Mark Emmons of the San Jose Mercury News for his exclusive interview with one of the Boy Scouts from Oregon whose suit against the Scouts led to the release of the perversion files. This was a big story around the country, the release of those files, but Mark's follow-up reporting, instead of letting the story stop there, he actually worked with one of the attorneys in Oregon and helped track down one of the folks who was in that database, got an exclusive interview with him and wrote a very affecting, terrific story. And as a result of not only the story itself, but of sticking to that even after taking the data and actually using it to turn it into a story, Mark is this month's winner in the Bay Area.
My piece of the story was to try to follow up and localize the story as best as possible. That meant calling lawyers in Oregon who referred me to lawyers in Washington. Eventually we were fortunate enough to find an individual in the Bay Area who had a very horrific story to tell about sexual abuse that he and his brother had suffered at the hands of a scoutmaster in Washington State. It was the kind of story that kind of hard to write, but also I think put the story, the larger issue, in context for our readers. And I think that's one thing that the newspapers remain uniquely qualified to do in a time when we're trying to be as fast as possible, and we're doing Twitter, and we're doing all the digital things that we have to do to stay relevant. We also can remain almost uniquely qualified to provide context for stories, to report them out as best we can, and really give readers a true, rich understanding of whatever topic we're doing. And hopefully we were able to do that with the Boy Scout story. Again, I was very proud to participate in it with some really good editors and reporters here at the Mercury News, and hopefully we continue to do this kind of quality work. And again, thank you very much. Very honored.
This month's winner in Northern California is Ryan Olson of the Chico Enterprise Record for the local elections webpage he produced. If you go to www.chicoer.com/election, you can actually look at all the resources that they pulled together for elections in Chico. And it was a good example of providing a service for local readers that really allowed you to see all of the work that was being done. And websites are frequently designed in ways that make it very difficult to use, and also just to find all the information on a topic of interest. This was a very smartly done page that had pretty much anything that anybody living in that region could possibly need for the elections. And as a result of the work that led to that page, Ryan is this month's winner in Northern California.
It's great to be recognized for helping to contribute to this project. But really, I think everyone in the newsroom deserves a great share of the credit for helping to make this project come together. The reporters and the editors helped to gather the interviews, including the audio. Photographers collected mugshots. Our partners at the League of Women Voters and staff members conducted the forums. And thankfully, my contribution was to help round this all up and put it together into a service that our readers would hopefully benefit from. I hope they did. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to build upon this success and add additional information and work with our partners at other newspapers and publications and build a better, stronger section in future elections and other civic coverage. Thank you very much.